Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So before I get started here today, I would like to take just a minute to issue an apology to any of my viewers who have ever approached me in a public place. It's something that I never thought would really happen. I have a very small channel here with a very small following, so it's very unexpected when I'm approached in public by any of my viewers or subscribers or anything. It always catches me off guard, and I feel like I probably come across as a total asshole every time it happens. And my interaction with the general public is uncomfortable at best. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, people tend to be really rude to me in public, and so I'm probably always a little bit guarded and a little bit defensive. So when I'm approached in public, or if I can kind of see from a distance that somebody is kind of like turning their attention towards me and maybe gonna approach me, my reaction is always kind of like, what? And they're like, I follow your Instagram, or I watch your videos and I really like your makeup, and then they cower and they walk away, because I know I come across as a total fucking prick in real life. And this happened over the summer, actually. I was at Cedar Point and somebody had messaged me on Grindr, and they said something like, I've seen you here a lot and I always want to say hi, but you look really mean. And I know that I probably do. I'm just kind of like arms crossed, like just like daring people to like come near me and say anything. I don't know. I'm really defensive, and I'm trying not to be that way. Again, especially because lately it seems like people are approaching me about my channel and about my videos, about my makeup and my Instagram stuff. And again, like I know that I come across as like a total fucking dick, and I think people are probably afraid to approach me. So, Libby, Violet, that girl at Sephora with the really cool green hair, I apologize to all of you because you were the ones that most recently this has probably happened to, and anybody else. Again, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more approachable because I'm a nice guy, you know what I mean? But again, my interaction with the public has always been a little touchy. But again, I don't want to go on and on about this, but I do just want to say I'm sorry to anybody who has approached me and felt terrified because, I'm just like... But let's get started with today's video. I have not filmed any kind of makeup tutorial, anything like that in so long. I think that the last thing that I filmed makeup-wise for my channel was the Jackie Aina Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and I think that was probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, so I'm probably a bit rusty. And honestly, for the most part, my makeup routine lately has been very minimal. It's been very bare bones. It's been fucking lazy. That's what it's been. It has been lazy makeup. So I actually think I want to kind of start small. I think I kind of want to just dip my toes in and basically film the lazy makeup that I have been doing lately. My eye looks have really been more of like a one and done, or like a one color and maybe some glitter, something like that. Something very basic, something to just kind of get me feeling it again. I just got home after a long work day. As far as what was on my face for work today, it was the most minimal ever. It was a little bit of a tinted eye cream under the eyes, and then the MAC Next to Nothing powder on my face, just set very, very lightly. I went ahead and just wiped that off with a Cetaphil wipe, and then just put on some moisturizer and eye cream. That's been sinking into my skin for about 20-25 minutes, which is my normal kind of morning routine. So we're just gonna kind of start from there. And again, this is basically gonna be what I've been doing on a day-to-day basis. So you guys are probably already aware that I have a refrigerator full of the MAC Next to Nothing foundation behind me. It's my favorite, it's my holy grail. But lately I've been super fucking lazy with the makeup, so I want to just pop something on really quick and get out the door. So what I've been doing is, instead of using like an actual foundation and then a concealer, I've been using this MAC Studio Finish Concealer. I have the shades W10 and NW20, and I've just been kind of like popping those on, blending those in, maybe powdering down a tiny bit, but this has been a really quick, easy one for me, and I've been really liking it. I have super oily skin, I've got really large pores, stores. And this one just seems to do really well on my skin. This doesn't really settle into fine lines too bad, especially in the under eyes here. It doesn't get super like broken up or super extra oily through the day, which is crazy since this is a cream product. I'm really oily. I would not expect a creamy product to last that long on my skin, but it's been doing really, really well. And I usually apply with this brush here. This is like one of those fluffy eyeshadow brushes from the BH Cosmetics. I'm gonna fuck this up. The Marble Luxe brush set. That's what it is. What I've been doing is I've been dipping into W10. I'm just kind of tapping into that pan. And I start right under the eye on the inner corner. That's where I tend to have a little bit of darkness. And then with whatever is left on my brush, I kind of take it out into the little bit of darkness that happens on this side of the eye too. But just kind of getting that on and brightening up the inner corners and the under eye a little bit. And then to almost kind of sculpt the sides of my nose and bring some of that in a little bit, I'll take that same shade and bring it down just the sides of the nose. And what I've really been liking about this concealer lately is that it's not cakey. It doesn't read very makeup-y in real life. And it just, you know, for a no makeup day and for something quick and easy and out the door, you really can kind of slap this on, very lightly powder, and not have to worry about it breaking up throughout the day. And then just kind of tap back in there, take some more of that same shade, and I like to go right down the center of my nose and brighten that up. And this just helps to contour the nose without having to go in and actually contour my nose. Again, this is gonna be very quick, very simple. I'm not gonna do really any contouring today because I just haven't been doing that lately. I just can't be bothered. I've been really lazy lately. And I don't know, I think a lot of it is I've just been in a funk in general, but it's affected my mood. My routine has definitely gotten a lot lazier. And in my routine becoming lazier, I've also found that even if I do really minimal makeup and I don't try too hard and I want to get something on my face really quick, I'm just as happy with those looks as I am with something that I spent like 3 or 4 hours to create. Because realistically, from a distance, on me anyway, it all kind of reads the same. And then I think as far as creating content and making videos for my channel, I guess I could say that it's probably gotten really stale. It's like I feel like I just kind of have made about 100 of the exact same video here, doing the same looks with different palettes and talking about the same shit. And it's like, you know, at some point it's like, well, you really are just kind of making the same video over and over again. And then you're like, well, why aren't people watching my videos? Well, because you're doing the same fucking shit every time. So I guess I kind of had to take a break from it and really think about, like, what do I want to do here? And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I love makeup and, you know, I have one face, so, but I feel like I need to put maybe a different twist on it, a different spin, and I'm still not sure what that is. I do have some ideas for some videos. Like you guys seem to be really receptive to a glitter swatch video, which I would like to not only do a video where I swatch all of my glitters, but I would also like to talk about glitter removal. I feel like lately there's been this big thing, and I think it kind of started with the ColourPop, their pressed glitters in their palettes where they're not eye safe glitter, and everybody seems to be freaking the fuck out over it. But I think that there's a way not only to apply glitter, but you definitely have to remove it in a way that it's not going to get in your eyes and it's not going to cut your eyes. I wear non-eye safe glitter on my eyes all the time. And when I remove my glitter at the end of a day, there's not one trace of glitter left behind. Like, it's all gone. And it's not in my eye. It's not cutting my eyes open. So I think that I want to include that in a video. I have a few ideas swimming around, but I think I'm gonna be a little bit slower about getting my videos out and really kind of planning and putting them together and making sure that I'm not just throwing out another, oh, let's blend out some brown and gold eyeshadow, you know what I mean? But just some slightly different content than what I've been putting out, because it really has just been like the eyeshadow show here for the past 2.5 years. And I think it's getting old. I think it's getting tired. I have a very specific eye shape. I've got hooded eyes. I've got deep set eyes. So there's only going to be so many different looks that I can do on my own face with eyeshadow. So we got to come at this channel from a different angle, and I'm kind of figuring it out. So with that same brush, I'm going to dip into NW20. I recently picked this one up after I've been using the W10 all the time for concealing and brightening certain areas. I just really wanted to get another color and kind of add that to the mix and maybe kind of come up with a foundation concoction, which actually the Studio Finish Concealer on the MAC Pro website is sold in a larger pan, and it's called, I think it's called Full Coverage Foundation, which realistically, these little pans last for so long that with the bigger pans, I think that they would go bad before I would ever be able to use them all up. So I'm definitely gonna stick with these smaller pans and use them this way. That way they never really go bad before I have a chance to finish them. But I take this shade and I kind of go along the outskirts of where I have blended out the W10 shade. And I really only take it kind of onto the cheeks here. You're gonna notice that I don't actually blend this out all the way into my hairline, onto like my jawline or any of that kind of stuff. I really keep this focused in the center of the face where I really need that coverage, where I tend to have a lot of redness, and I just kind of keep it in those areas. And this has just really been my go-to routine lately. I've been really happy with it. And while I could go in with a slightly larger brush for this, I like the idea that with a smaller brush, I'm going in with a lot less product and just kind of blending it out from there, where I think if I used even a little bit larger of a brush, I would end up going in with too much product and going a little heavier than I wanted, because I just want this to look really natural on the skin. And obviously the more you use, the less natural it's gonna look and the more makeup-y it's gonna look. So by using a smaller brush like this, I think that I just end up applying a lot less product and it looks a lot nicer on my skin for a long time. But actually, while we're here, hold on. I recently bought this brush. This is the Morphe M173, and I think that this is a concealer brush that maybe came out with the concealers that they released a few months back. That's been more than a few months back, I think, but this is a brush that I recently discovered. But I kind of want to try this brush and see how it compares just for like larger areas like the forehead here. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm just gonna kind of stamp that on. And again, I go around where I use the W10 shade. So I kept W10 down the center of my nose and onto the center of the forehead. And so with the NW20, just kind of stamping that in around that shade. And I have some redness and blotchiness that happens here and here. So just kind of stamping that into those areas. And again, I'm not taking this out onto like, you know, the temples or anything like that. I'm really just kind of keeping that in the center of the face where I really have a lot more redness, discoloration, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that brush actually worked really well for that. And then I also like to take that NW20 and hit down the very sides of the nose. And this will just kind of cancel out the crazy Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer shit I have going on my nose. And that brush is actually really nice, but I think I still prefer how small this one is. And this one isn't quite as stiff. So I think I'm probably gonna stick with this brush. And even though what we're doing today is a very quick, lazy makeup thing, I'm always going to find a way to overcomplicate everything. So I am going to use a couple of different powders to set everything down. A couple of these are actually discontinued. Of course, everything is. I'm going to start with the Warm Rose Mineralized Skin Finish by MAC. This is a very light pink powder, and I am going to take that on this big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to very lightly set the center of the face. Pretty much everywhere I applied that concealer is going to get set down with this powder. If I don't use this, I will also use the Ben Nye Pretty Pink setting powder. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Ben Nye Pretty Pink translucent powder. That's a good one. Also, another one I found that I like is this Milani Prep Set and Glow. This powder is really nice. I think that you need to go really easy with it because it can be really shiny really quick. So just a little bit of that one. Another powder that I really like that I haven't bought in a long time, but I really want to try it again because I loved it when I was using it before, is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder. I love that powder because it's one of those like the next to nothing. It's very lightweight. It gives just a tiny bit of color, not any coverage, but if you want like a nice translucent powder that has just like a touch of a color, that one is really good too. And then I'm going to jump over to another discontinued powder. This is the Next to Nothing powder. This is in the shade Light Plus. This one is a little bit deeper, and I'm going to take that one on the same brush, and I'm going to hit the perimeter of my face. Now again, there's nothing on this area of my face except for my moisturizer that I applied that's been sitting on there for a while, and I'm just kind of pressing that over those areas. Take a little bit more, and I'm going to kind of hit this area of my face that was left blank. I didn't take any of that concealer down onto this area. So this is just going to give it a little bit of something. Again, there's no concealer, there's no foundation, there's nothing here, but you don't want to leave it completely blank. You don't want to not put anything there because then you have like makeup on the center of your face, but then just completely nothing on the outside. And I feel like the overall texture of the skin would just look a little bit off if you left it completely blank and didn't do anything. And then to add some structure and a little bit of warmth to the face, I'm going to use this Urban Decay Beach Bronzer. This is in the shade Sunkissed. And I really like this one because it's a bronzer that has a pink tint to it. I don't know how true to tone it reads on camera, but this one is really good for my complexion. But I'm just going to kind of press that into this area, basically right over top of where I put that Next to Nothing powder. And this is just going to kind of deepen those areas up a little bit and give my face a little bit of structure, a little bit of contour without feeling like you've totally painted on the structure on your face, you know what I mean? And with my eyebrows being microbladed, that's something else that I don't really have to spend a lot of time on. But for most of these quick makeup days, I won't even do anything at all. Like these are fine and these get me by. But I am going to add a few strokes in there. I am going to kind of fill them in a little bit with the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint. I might take a little bit of this powder and just kind of hit. I've got an area right here that's almost a little bit thinner, but I am going to hit that with a little bit more ink in a few weeks here. I'm also going to go in and add some darker hair strokes because I want these to look a little bit more like 3D and a little bit more realistic. So the microblading is still not complete, but for a day-to-day basis, when I want to be lazy and not do anything, I can get by with just what's on my face already, but I am just going to kind of slightly tint them a tiny bit, and I'm going to add just a few hair strokes in there just to sharpen them up a little bit too. And as far as my complexion goes, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly set my under eyes with this little Frankenstein powder that I made. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade Fair. And I have that mixed half and half with the Ben Nye Pretty Pink Translucent Powder. And I'm going to press that in here, press in here. And then with whatever is left on that sponge, just kind of press it down the center of the nose, the center of the forehead here, on the chin, And that'll pretty much get me by. Now, I know that on camera, everything just looks like really blanked out and really ghostly. But in real life, once the powder has had a chance to kind of settle down and my oils come through, there really is a lot of like definition and a lot of shape to my face. This really is enough to do all that for me. And before we get into this eye look, I need to take a quick break for some lip balm because my lips are dry as fuck. This is the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm. This is the berry one, and this I've been really liking a lot over the last few weeks. This is a lip balm. It smells good. I guess it's tinted, but it's like barely tinted, which that's fine. It's a lip balm. It doesn't need to be like any kind of color, any kind of coverage. But I feel like this lasts on the lips for a long time. And it's glowy, it's kind of shiny like a lip gloss, but it feels like a balm. Like your hair doesn't stick in it. I've been really liking this one a lot, so that is so much better. So this eye look is going to be a one and done. I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been really liking to just throw one thing on there, be done with it. So I'm going to go in first with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. I'm just going to use the same brush that I use to apply my concealer or foundation that I use today. The brush is already dirty. We might as well get some more use out of it. So for my one and done today, I'm going to go in with Lounge by Urban Decay. This is one of the very few eyeshadow colors that I've hit pan on. Now, I have had this shadow for years, probably about a decade now. It still works great. I probably should buy a new one, but I've worn it recently and it was still totally fine. I almost forgot. I want to set down a little bit of powder underneath my eyes to catch any of that fallout because there probably will be some. So again, Lounge on a Morphe M433. I'm going to go in and start to press that right into the crease to start. And for me personally, when I'm doing a one and done eyeshadow look, I like something that's more of like a duochrome, something that's got some shimmer to it, something that when you kind of turn your head and the light catches it, it looks like you did a bunch of stuff. It looks like you actually spent any kind of time on your makeup, when in reality, you just kind of threw some shit on there and got out the door, you know? This is one of those shadows that I use. Obviously, I used it a lot. You can see how much pan is showing. But I feel like I used it so much for like the first year that I had it. And then it's like it just kind of sat here and never really got used again. And then here we are like a decade later and I've rediscovered it. And I'm just obsessed with this shade all over again. It's really pretty because it's like, it's red, but it's green, but it's brown. There's like so much going on there. And of course, we're gonna smoke that into the lower lash line. My eyes were really watery and really stingy all day at work today, so they're actually not really appreciating all of this loose powder that's fluffing into them, but whatever, they'll get over it. And then with a clean Morphe M504, I'm going to go ahead and start to blend that out, more like a transition shade here on the top. And then I'm going to go back in and kind of like build that shade up some more. But with what I already have on there, I'm going to really softly kind of blend that out. And then I'm going to start to build that up some more into the crease. And the more that you blend it out, the more red it becomes. The more that you pack it on, you're going to see more of that greenish shift to it. And already it's just so like multi-dimensional. Is that a word? Is that a thing? But you know, you've got it a little deeper and a little bit more of that green brown kind of tone in the crease. And as it blends out, it gets a little bit more of that red kind of tone. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but in real life, that is so fucking pretty. Is this color even still a thing? Do they still make Lounge? I remember when Urban Decay was such a big deal. I mean, they're still a big deal and they're still releasing a lot of stuff. But they're one of those brands that I feel like was way cooler a long time ago. I feel like now it's all like, you know, the naked stuff. And I almost feel like Urban Decay's really lost their cool factor, you know what I mean? And pack it in a little bit more down here. I'm definitely getting a shit ton of fallout. I don't know that I've laid down enough powder to make it so that that's not gonna be a giant mess. but we'll see. I can always clean it up at the end. And on the lid, I'm gonna go ahead and apply it with my finger. That way we can get as much concentration of that color where it's a little bit more of that green brown kind of tone, and just have a little bit more of that depth and that shimmer on the lid. I really hope that they still make this shade. I would actually like to buy a new one because, again, this is definitely a 10-year-old eyeshadow. It's definitely expired. It has no business going on my eyes at all, but here we are. I'm gonna take this Sigma tapered highlighter brush. This is an F35. I'm gonna take a little bit of this powder that I set my under eyes with, and I am going to sweep away as much of this eyeshadow fallout as we can. And then if I need to, I can kind of fix this under eye area up. Just kind of press a little bit of that powder onto my nose here really quick. And since we're going with Urban Decay on the eyes, we'll go ahead and do the waterline with some Urban Decay. This is the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Alkaline, which is very similar to the Night Moth pencil that I usually use on my waterline. But I think this one is not quite as deep as Night Moth, but it's very similar. And this pencil came out, I believe, with the Naked Heat palette. And I'm not sure if this is even available anymore, but it is a really nice color. I really love a red on the waterline. And again, if this isn't available anymore, the Night Moth pencil by MAC, which is a lip liner, I use that one on my waterline all the time, and I've never had any kind of an issues with it. I've never had a reaction. If there is any staining that happens from it, I just put like a black pencil on the next day. It doesn't matter, it's fine. But a color like this, I just think looks really good against green eyes. It really makes them pop, although right now they're probably just bloodshot because I had a pencil in my eye for a while. But this Alkaline pencil is very similar in tone to the red that's in Lounge, so I think that these actually work really good together. And I suppose this could use a little something to brighten up the inner corners. So I'm going to go in with this shade from Makeup Geek called Blacklight. This is one of those shadows that I bought and I never really used a whole lot. I'm just going to take that on a pencil brush and kind of pop that right on the inner corners. I don't know that this really brightens up the inner corners, but I think that it does go pretty nicely with the tones that are going on in Lounge. Now, on these days where I'm doing very quick, easy, minimal makeup, I usually will skip a highlighter on like the cheeks and stuff. I just can't be bothered. I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible and get out the door. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw on a little bit of mascara, pull this hair back down, and we can kind of take a look at this final look. And that is the final look. I added some mascara, a little bit of lip liner. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Lip Pencil in the shade Rush. I've used this a bunch of times on my channel. It's pretty much my natural lip color, and I added a little bit more balm on top of it. Now, is this look groundbreaking? No, it's a one and done. Well, maybe a two and done if you count the inner corners, but maybe this is kind of what people are really doing in their real lives, you know, like one color out the door. I've been really lazy with my makeup lately. This is the kind of thing I've been doing. So I just wanted to kind of, again, dip my toes in the water, come back on camera, film a quick look, share it with you guys, see how you like it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give it a thumbs up anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.